Let's talk about that one guitar you might own. Not your first guitar, not your dream guitar, not even your current favorite. I'm talking about the guitar you bought for all the wrong reasons. The impulse buy. The one you picked because it looked cool. The one where the amount of thought spent versus money spent was an inverse function. For me, this is that guitar. So this is my Epiphone Sheraton Banshee, and I got her back before I knew pretty much anything about guitars, but more importantly, before I knew what I like in my own guitars. With all my other instruments, I can point to tangible, maybe even rational reasons why I selected each and every one. But for this one, I saw a cool looking guitar online that I could afford, and I went for it. Now, I had never played a Sheraton up until this point, so I consider myself pretty lucky that I immediately fell for this guitar. The coil splits, the neck profile, the aesthetics obviously, all were perfect in my book. But there were also a couple things that I was maybe, let's say, less than happy with. For one, this guitar is huge. For reference, I'm about 5'5" on a good day, and I feel like an absolute child playing this thing. But my biggest hang-up with this guitar actually comes down to the pickups. And while I may have to live with the size of this thing, pickups are thankfully something we can change. Before we get started, let's talk about these pickups. So these are not the stock pickups, but they're actually the Seymour Duncan Seth Lover set. Back when I first got this guitar, I didn't really know a ton about pickups in general, but I knew that I wasn't a huge fan of the sounds that I was getting from the stock set. So I went online and Googled something like best pickups for Epiphone Sheraton, and after reading a few posts and articles, I decided to go with this set. Now, a few years later, and after playing a lot more guitars and a ton of different kinds of pickups, I've kind of come to the conclusion that I just don't really like PAFs. Now, don't get me wrong, I think they're fantastic pickups, and I think everyone in the world makes them sound much better than I do. But for my particular sound and my playing style and my rig, they're just not really what I'm looking for. So instead, we're going to replace them with the Black Mass Wide Range Humbuckers. I recently installed the same set on Mass Jazzmaster, and they were kind of exactly the sound that I was looking for, so I knew I had to get a set of my own. Besides the new pickups, we're also going to install a Duesenberg Les Trem because offset guitars have kind of broken my brain a bit, and I think I now need a vibrato on every guitar I own. So let's get started. Learning any new skill over time leaves little traces here and there. Sometimes these take the shape of marks and scars, and sometimes it's the failures along the way. The projects you gave up on, the ones that were too difficult for your skill set at the time, the ones that were so frustrating, you just had to walk away. It's easy to look back and dismiss these as simply failures, collateral damage for the sake of learning, if you will. But I think there's some real value in revisiting those old projects with the knowledge and skills you have today. This guitar was one of the first semi-hollows I ever worked on, and it was such a miserable, frustrating experience. After what felt like an eternity, I did get those pickups installed, but for everything I did right, there were so many more things I did wrong. I bought the wrong output jack and had to omit the washer or else the nut wouldn't screw on. My wiring was so messed up that half my pots didn't even work and my signal cuts out here and there. And of course, the pickups that I'd spent almost $300 on were not at all what I was looking for. After all that time and effort, I really didn't have it in me to undo all my work to correct those errors, so I convinced myself that I could just live with the guitar as is, mistakes and all. But over time, I was finding that I was picking this guitar up less and less and less. Thankfully, today, I'm a bit older, a bit more knowledgeable, maybe even a little more stubborn. My hands are a bit steadier, and I have even more tricks up my sleeve than ever before. And even beyond the tech stuff, I feel like I've started to get to know myself better as a musician. I know what I like. I know what I don't like. I know what I need from a guitar to be able to sound like the best version of myself. And even if the path to learning all these lessons was paved with my mistakes, it feels good to be able to go back and fix even just this one. right, she is all finished up. I'm also just now realizing that this is like pretty much the Epiphone version of Emily's Squire Starcaster, so thanks Emily for the inspiration. Now just from my initial noodling, I'm already pretty happy with how everything turned out. Like, I love the sound of the pickups, I love the vibrato, but I'll probably take another few days just to fine tune the setup, and then I'm sure she'll be perfect. So I'll see you all in a few days. If I'm being honest, I don't think there really is a wrong reason to pick up a guitar. Even if it was just for looks, or because your favorite artist plays one, or even just because you wanted to. At the end of the day, the best reason to pick up a guitar is because it makes you happy. Thanks for watching, everyone. I'll see you in the next one. Happy playing.